week's episode of One Piece was a fantastic adventure as Luffy discovered the island of Zou with his brand new mink tribe friends, Wanda and Carrot, and he's formally reunited with Chopper and Nami. But where are the other Straw Hat Pirates? This week's episode of One Piece was frankly just thrilling. I really loved this one a lot. I'm really loving everything about the Zou arc in general, mostly just because of how refreshing it is, and the fact that all of the citizens on the island are half animal people, which means we get to see a large variety of really interesting background characters. Lions, tigers, bears, oh my, there's freaking rabbits, there's dogs, not to mention a giant ram who can also be used as a big fluffy bed. All in all, though, not that much really happened in this week's episode of One Piece. It was very simple. Basically, just Luffy being reunited with his other fellow Straw Hats, and then they're formally introduced to the Mink Tribe and their village, which is so infectiously awesome and totally gives me Ewok vibes. But it all ends with a great cliffhanger where seemingly all of the Straw Hats are there, except that Momo, Brook, and Sanji are missing, and Nami seems to be incredibly upset over the fact that something bad might have happened to Sanji, giving us our classic to-be-continued screen, which I can only imagine is just going to completely annoy those who only watch the anime version. But my friends, I envy you, because this arc right here is going to have a lot of nice twists and turns, and lots of surprises, and some amazing battles and adventure, and this was basically the best way to start it out. The beginning of the episode, we got this great scene where we got to see the rain eruption again, which is where the elephant actually takes its trunk and spews all of this ocean water all over its back. And at first, this seemed like something that would be incredibly devastating to the citizens or the Mink Tribe. Actually, it's very useful to them because they're actually able to collect this water for drinking purposes, and of course, it allows them to eat all the fish they could possibly stomach. I love the scene where Luffy, Wanda, and Carrot are riding on Wani the alligator as they're swimming around in the water, and Luffy actually gets caught in the torrents and actually almost gets eaten by a great white shark, but thankfully he is saved by Carrot, who is just such an amazing character, probably the most adorable One Piece character that I've ever seen, and I'm still hoping that she'll eventually join the crew. I'm not sure what she could do for the crew, like what sort of purpose that she could serve, but I just love her character design, I love her voice actor, and she's just so fucking adorable! That scene where she bites Luffy's ear is ridiculous. Not to mention the Mink Tribe themselves have this like weird quirk where they're just really obsessed with rubbing up against people or licking them, and that's mostly speaking to their animalistic nature, and it leads to a lot of really funny / awkward scenes, especially for Luffy, who's having his ear nibbled on, and the fact that Wanda just comes right up to him and licks him on the face. This episode also does a really great job of teasing the character of Jack, who I really believe is going to end up being a fan favorite villain of the series, and seeing him in this episode was great. He was basically covered in shadow and red coloring for the most part, and he seemed to be torturing a higher-up member of the Mink Tribe, a character who will be introduced soon, not to mention another character by the name of Master Cat Viper. I'm going to go ahead and just bring this up because since I read the manga version, a lot of the times they'll have a character's name and they'll completely change it, or they'll make like a literal translation of it. In the manga version, this character is known as Nekomamushi, and here they're calling him Master Cat Viper, which is basically just a straight translation of Nekomamushi, so, you know, I guess they're interchangeable, but, you know, for review purposes, I'm gonna just refer to him as Master Cat Viper because, one, it's a lot easier to say, and that looks like what Funimation is gonna be rolling out for their subtitles. It is a literal translation, but I'm okay with it. That still sounds pretty damn awesome. Another character who's really cool, and you might even be able to catch a glimpse of him in the intro of the show, as well as that other dog character. Keen-eyed manga viewers will definitely recognize them. For those who don't know, they're pretty easy to spot either way. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? Man, I really want a giant sheep to sleep on right now. Is it just me, or did that look like super comfortable? The great scene at the end when we're introduced to all the Mink Tribe members is fantastic. Seeing their village was really great. I love that there was some new music that they finally decided to implement in the series, which added a lot of, like, atmosphere to this very exotic setting. I really appreciated that. Not to mention just that thrilling sequence at the beginning with Luffy getting caught in the torrent and the rain eruption. That was really well animated and super fluid, and it just seems like they're just giving a shit a lot more in the Zou arc, and I really appreciate that. I didn't even mention the hilarious scene with Kanjuro and Kinemon as they're continuing to climb up the elephant's leg, now with this cat who goes by the name of Nekozaimon. They're also joined by the other Mink Tribe member, that one monkey wearing a top hat, who's also joining them as they make their way up the elephant's leg, but as they get halfway up to the top, they get swept up in the ring eruption, getting ready to begin their journey a third time. Overall, I think this episode was a really great introduction to the Mink Tribe, not to mention I just really love the fact that they're all so varied looking and they're all completely different animals. There's just something really unique about that. You could probably tell that the creator of the series was having a really good time when he was creating all of these characters. It's like the Island of Dr. Moreau, anime style, and you can check it all out in this week's episode of One Piece, which I thought was pretty freaking fantastic. It was a little slow-winded in some parts, but still, I'm just absolutely loving the Zou arc right now. The beginnings of One Piece arcs in the anime series always tend to be really strong. The good thing is, we're not even going to spend that long in Zou. Like, when compared to Dressrosa, this is basically just going to be a pit stop before we even move to our next destination. Still, there are a lot of really cool things to see in this. Next week's episode is going to be getting into Sanji and their side of the Straw Hat Pirates, seeing what happened before Luffy and his team actually arrived. This is going to shed some light on this big Sanji situation, which, if you can't tell, Sanji's kind of an important character in this upcoming arc. So that's all I'm going to say about that. What I will say is this week's episode was awesome. 5 out of 5 for me. Check it out, One Piece fans. If any of you did watch this week's episode of One Piece, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you have a favorite scene from this episode? Something funny? Something action-packed? What do you think of the Mink Tribe thus far? Do you have a favorite member of the Mink Tribe? Mine is definitely Carrot by a long shot, but I would love to hear from you guys. I also still think it's a really funny question. If you could be a mink, what would you be? Like, what type of animal? I got a lot of funny responses from my last review, and I just want to hear from more people, so make sure to tell me all of that and more in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching this review so much. You guys are awesome. If you really want to help support Super Kami Guru 9000, you're doing it the best way right now. You're watching my videos. But if you want to go the extra mile, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and follow us on social media. You'll be able to find links to all of that stuff in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.